Hi there. Today I'm going to show you how I transfer my reference photo onto a canvas. I had a lot of people asking me how you do this. This is just one method, but it's probably the easiest for someone starting off. So I printed off a photo of this butterfly. It's probably pretty easy to draw this one yourself, but I use this one because the colors contrast well enough to be able to see it on the video. So what you do to start off with, you trace your reference photo onto tracing paper, which is this kind of paper. You can see it's pretty see-through. I can see all the outline of my reference. If you don't have this, you can use like a clear parchment paper. The best ones to get is the cheap ones at the dollar store because they're pretty thin. Or you could, use another sheet of paper, hold your reference photo up to a window, or use a light box. The tracing paper is pretty cheap. It usually comes in big pads like this with lots of sheets, or you can get it actually on a big roll like this if you do a lot, right? So what we do now is we use a pencil, any kind of pencil, and just trace over the lines that you see. You're better off just, sorry about the shaking, you're better off just tracing the outline. I'm sure you'll get it better shaped than I will. You don't need to trace all the tiny little details, because generally you go back and you figure those out for yourself. Or if you want to, you can trace all the details if you think you're going to need them. And then we're going, once we have this traced, and I'll speed it up so you don't have to watch me shakily trace all of this. Well, I generally just trace the main object. I leave the background. Unless you're going to have a really detailed background and you want to trace, you can go ahead. But for this one here, I can get this up. This is mostly just green leaves. So we'll just start off with a basic green and go from there. I just want to trace the outline of the butterfly. Well, I would probably draw this, but I'm tracing the outline so I can get both sides even. When you have Parkinson's, you shake so much it's hard to get things straight and even, as you can tell. And for this one, I'll just roughly trace in the body of the butterfly. And maybe we can do some of where the wings, where the design of the wings come down into the black, just to give you a rough outline when you start painting of where this is. And you can trace as much or as little as you want. And then we'll move on to showing you how to actually get this on your canvas. Sorry, squiggly lines. Generally I just use the lines as a very vague guideline because I can no longer get things where they're supposed to go. Okay, so now we have this traced. If I can get it off my table. We can, I don't know if you can see it on the video, maybe not, maybe. You can see there. You have the rough outline of our butterfly. The other thing you can do too is you can print the butterfly or whatever your picture is off in black and white if you think you'll be able to get a better view, because some things are better in black and white. so you can see. Sometimes you might be able to trace it better without all the extra colors. And the other thing the black and white photo does too is it shows you where your darks are, where your lights are, where your midtones are. So you can get a better idea of your values by printing off your photo in black and white. So now we're going to move on to getting it on our canvas. So you just lay your tracing paper over your canvas as best you can. Now you can use painter's tape in one corner or at the top if you want, just a small piece. This is artist tape, so, and if you think it's too tacky, just rub it on your clothing or a towel or something. Whoops, to make it a little less tacky. And just stick it on there. The next thing is to use transfer paper. This is a carbon, well, it's not carbon, it's graphite on the back. And you slip it under your, see what I mean about the tape? Slip it under your tracing. And now we're going to trace around this. But one little thing about the tracing paper first. Don't buy carbon paper. Carbon paper is actually, you'll never be able to erase it from your canvas. The tracing paper will actually, or transfer paper will actually have transfer paper written on it. And it's, it won't bleed through your paint, right? So this is the type you get. You can get it in black, or you can get it in white, like this one. Whoops, this one here. So it's great for if you're working on a black canvas or a darker canvas or working over a background. You can use this. So now I generally use a stylus. Sometimes you can also use like a ballpoint pen or whatever. I just find the stylus easier for me to handle. So the stylus has like a rounded tip. You can get them in various sizes. You can even get tiny little ones to make tiny little details if you want. Of course, they have numerous uses. So we're going to start with tracing our butterfly as best I can. I'm sure you guys can make a better line. But like I said, all you really need is just the basic shape, right? And I know I'm going to get a lot of comments from the Art Please about, you know, you have to draw your subject rather than trace it. But there are numerous times when you might need to trace, especially when you're starting out. And I find tracing when you're starting out, eventually your drawing skills will improve simply because you're tracing over things over and over again. So you're building a muscle memory for how something is drawn and for things like depth and perspective. So don't let that bother you. Just do whatever you have to do to learn to paint. And there's so much more to painting than actually getting the accurate drawing on the canvas. I mean, you know, once you draw it, if you just paint it, it's going to look like a coloring book thing. But as you learn to paint, you'll learn to add the shading and the highlights, make it look realistic or not realistic, as the case may be. Right? The drawing is not the be all and end all of painting. So don't worry about it. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing because you kind of get the gist of what I'm doing here. That's it. So I'm just going to show you now. When you take off the tracing paper and the transfer paper, and I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't because of the lighting. But anyway, the vague outline of my butterfly is now on my canvas. If you wanted to draw it on instead of trace it, I would suggest, if you're using acrylics, to try using a watercolor pencil I can see the vague outline there, so I can draw over it. But if your drawing skills are good enough, you can certainly use the watercolor pencil. I have a blue one here too. You can make it different colors if you want, so that you know which is which, right? And the nice thing about the watercolor pencil is that it will erase up water, so you don't have to worry about rubbing it out. The other thing I suggest too is get a kneadable eraser, one like this. It's kind of like Play-Doh, but you can use I have one here, it might be a little bit dried out. You can use the kneadable eraser. If your lines are a bit too dark for your liking, you can take it and just gently tap the lines a little to help fade them out a little. So yeah, that's about it. That's one way of doing it. The other way is, I'll move this out of the way. Actually, we'll take this off. I mean, there are many other ways. I have a whole blog post on how to transfer, but I'm just going to show you 2 simple ways today. So here is a 5B pencil, so it's really soft. Or you can also use a charcoal pencil. And I'll show you both ways. We'll do this one first. So what you do is you rub the 5B pencil on the back of your drawing or your reference photo. And we'll just do a little bit. Just get it nice and full of the graphite. There we go. And now take your canvas back. I'm going to use the same canvas so you can see. Now, I rubbed the graphite on the back of this one here. So maybe I'll do the pen this time. So you can now trace over the outline of your butterfly. There we go. I think I got that. Again, you probably can't see it, but it does transfer the lines from the graphite onto your canvas right here. Works the same with charcoal. We'll do the other side with charcoal. I'm sorry you can't see that better, but the lighting washes everything out, and the lines are not dark, and you don't want them to be too dark and show through your paint. I don't know, this pencil feels really hard today. I don't know, it's going to transfer. Let's see if I get it. Again, just take your pen or your stylus or whatever you're doing, and you want to give it a little bit of pressure. Anyway, you can vaguely see it right there. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I think it's just too light to see. But anyway, those 2 methods you have of transferring your photo onto your canvas or a wood or any material that you're going to paint on. That's the easiest way to do it. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.